welcome to the farm vlog today, guys. Today we're going to be harvesting some of our scapes off of our garlic. But first, we need to feed the animals around the farm. And with the addition of our 3 baby goats, which are really exciting. If you guys haven't seen the videos of us getting the baby goats over the last week or so, I'll put a link right up here to that. It's been really busy on the farm here over the last week. Like I said, with the baby goats, we fenced off the whole front half of our homestead. That was a big project all on its own. But today we're going to feed the baby goats, the chickens, and then we're going to harvest some scapes. So come along with us on the farm vlog.
So it's time to feed the chickens. Now you guys have seen the video where we built our DIY feeders using the PVC pipe and it held at least a week's worth of food. What we found though is our chickens, they actually will eat and eat and eat and eat until the food's all gone. They don't fly. They don't just eat what they want and then go on with their day. They will literally eat a week's worth of food in less than 24 hours. So what we've done is we've actually cut them back and we're giving them half a cup per chicken each day. So for us, that's about 2 scoops out of our 3-quart scoop that we're using. And we'll go and we'll spread that between our 3 feeders for the chickens for the day. Now, they also get free range time so they can eat as much as they want out in their pasture. And we also give them treats and stuff like that throughout the day as well. So this is the food we currently feed our chickens. This is an organic chick starter. Now our chicks are 16 weeks old, so we're getting ready to switch them over to their layer pellets because we're hoping in the next few weeks they're going to start laying eggs for us. So we have here, it's a bag of organic layer pellets, and this comes from our local co-op store, and it's made right here in New Brunswick locally. So we're going to start to slowly switch them over to that when this bag's about halfway through. Let's go in and feed the chickens because I hear they're very excited for breakfast.
We should open up their window.
Yeah, it's kind of stuffy in here today. Look at all the bugs.
Welcome to bug season.
Want some air, chickens? There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna pet you and you're gonna like it.
So we raised up their water a little bit, just so that all this shavings here doesn't end up in there. A couple months ago, the chickens were a lot shorter, but now as you guys can see, they are huge. Is it because of all the organic feed we've been giving you guys? We're going to be sending a whole bunch of roosters to slaughter here in the next week or 2 because, well, we have too many chickens and you only need 1 or 2 roosters for about a dozen hens. Plus we also want to fill our freezer full of meat for the next few months.
So when our chickens were smaller, we actually covered the nesting boxes so they didn't have access to them. I read some information online in one of my chicken groups that chickens will actually accidentally smother each other trying to hide in somewhere to sleep where they think it's safe. And we've noticed that our chickens were piling 5 to sometimes 6 chickens in one nesting box, and we wanted to make sure that everybody was okay. So what we did was we covered it up so they didn't have access to it. But now they're getting close to laying age, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the cover off, we're going to fill it with some clean shavings, and hopefully in the next few weeks we're going to see some eggs out of these chickens. Let's take it off. Come hold this side for mommy. Don't let it fall. Oops. Too fast. Thank you. going to get some clean shavings to refill the nesting boxes, and I'm hoping soon we might see some eggs. I'm going to fill them from this side. It's a little easier. When you're on the other side, the chickens tend to swarm you, and I'd like to be able to fill them in peace. Luckily, we made this handy door so we can fill all of our nesting boxes and also collect eggs as soon as they're ready.
Last one.
Good job, high five. So now that we've fed all the chickens and we've put fresh shavings into their nesting box, we're gonna go and feed the goats. This is where we store all of our hay in the barn for the goats. We have 2 more pallets here. We're actually putting in an order with a local farmer to get about another 25 to 30 bales, so that will be good at least until next spring. We want to make sure that we have more than enough to last us through the winter, as hay can be really hard to find here in New Brunswick. First thing we're going to do with the goats is I'm going to top up a little bit of their hay. They probably didn't eat all of it from last night, but that's okay. I'm going to give them some fresh stuff anyway. Now, right now, we just have the goats in one stall, and we're using this as a buffer so that nobody gets in or out while they're still getting used to us. We haven't built their hay feeder yet, so we're currently using a rubber feed bowl just down by the ground here. The goats are really small, so they don't need something super high yet. We're gonna just pile this up here. I'm also gonna top up their alfalfa pellets, and it looks like they really love their grain mix that we got them as well. This is where we store our grain and our pellets for the goats. I'm gonna give them 1 scoop of the grain mix. Now this is a 3-grain blend that comes from our local co-op, and this is also locally grown here in New Brunswick as well. This has oats, barley, and cracked corn in it. 1 scoop of that. And then in this one, we have their alfalfa pellets. And I'm gonna give them one of these little bucketfuls. So this side, we're gonna put their grain. And this side, their alfalfa pellets. So their water is nice and clean. We just did it late last night. It's still nice and cold and it's full to the top, so I think it'll be good for the rest of today. They do also have a water bucket outside in the pasture.
Looks like Panda likes the alfalfa pellets.
Yeah, she does.
She heard you dump it in and she came running right away.
Is that good food, Panda? You coming in, Lily? Hi, Lily. I know a girl. Oh, looks like Lily likes the pellets too. Lily's like, get your big head out of there, Lola.
For wintertime, we will have to get them some supplements because they won't be out on pasture. And they ate all the carrots we gave them last night.
Oh yeah, we gave them 2 carrots.
Yeah, they ate the carrots.
That's good.
Hi, Nova.
Is that good, Lily? All the animals have been fed and watered. Everybody has clean bedding. We're going to go ahead and harvest some of our garlic scapes now so we can dry them out and grind them into a powder to use this year. Now, every garlic plant has a scape growing through the center, and by cutting them off, what you do is you take all the energy into the bulb so that it grows bigger instead of it working on growing the flower on top of the garlic plant. So we're going to go ahead and cut off the scape on every single one of our garlic bulbs. Now, we planted 258 bulbs, so we have a few scapes to get through. So we've cut all of our scapes. Out of 250 bulbs, we got 2 big bowls of them. We're going to go ahead and take these inside, wash them up, and get them ready to dehydrate. Now our garlic itself, we're going to let that mature for another few weeks before it's actually ready to pull. And hopefully we get some nice big bulbs and we can double our planting for next year. So now that we have all of our scapes cut, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim them. We're going to trim them right at this line. This is the part that actually turns into the garlic flower. It doesn't taste very good, so we're going to cut that part off. Then we're going to wash them and cut them into smaller pieces to get them ready to dehydrate. Now, you're going to want to dehydrate these somewhere other than inside your house. We're lucky we have a garage that we can put our dehydrator in. Otherwise, your house and everything in it is going to smell like garlic for a very, very, very long time. You may like that. I don't particularly want our house to smell like garlic for days, so we're going to do it outside. Now, just because we're cutting off these end parts of the scapes, don't think that they're going to go to waste. Nothing here goes to waste. These are actually going to go to our chickens, and I know they're going to love them. Chickens will eat anything. Now, the season for us here in New Brunswick is still really early. Our season started quite late this year. We had snow on the ground right until pretty much the middle of April. So this is technically our first harvest of this season, and we're really excited to see what the rest of the summer has for us. The appearance of the scapes in the garlic patch means that we're about a month away from harvest for our garlic. We're really excited about that. It's organic hardneck purple stripe garlic that we've grown this year, and we're hoping to double our harvest for next year. So we're going to take about half of what we get, and it's going to actually go back into the ground in October for next year's harvest. The rest of it we're going to dry out, some of it we're going to can, and some of it we're going to mince so that we have it for cooking throughout the year. So I've cut off all the bulbs on my scapes. We've rinsed them under cool water. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack them up in a pile, and then we're just going to chop them up into about 1/4 inch pieces so they're ready to dehydrate. Our scapes are washed and chopped and ready to go in the dehydrator. Now our trays have holes in them, and we're just going to put down some parchment paper just to keep them from falling through the holes, and we're going to spread them out in an even layer so it's not stacked, so we can make sure lots of airflow gets through them. So I'm just going to spread these out between the 2 trays. So after spreading everything out between these 2 trays, I'm actually going to add a 3rd and just take some off of each. They're a little bit crowded, and I want them to be able to dry really well, so we're just going to take some and spread them on this tray. Yeah. Our 3 trays are all ready to go. We're going to take them out to the garage, get them loaded into our dehydrator, and get them started. So we have our dehydrator all set up. We're using the 12 Tray Pro series from Cabela's, and this dehydrator has worked really well. We've done a lot of things in it so far, and we really like it. So I'm going to spread my trays out. lots of airflow in between each tray. That helps them dry. You don't want to stack your tray too tight, as then it blocks the airflow and it doesn't dehydrate as well. So we're gonna turn our power on. We're gonna set our time for, we're gonna do it for 8 hours to start with. And we're gonna set our temperature to 115. There we go. So this is just gonna run for the next 8 hours, and then we'll check and see how well our garlic is doing. And it may need to go for a little bit longer, or it may be ready. Now that everything's in and the dehydrator's set, we'll come back in 8 hours and we will check on our garlic scapes. So now that our scapes are all in the dehydrator, we thought we'd bring out a treat, which is the leftover tops to the chickens. Let's go take a look and see if they like them. Who wants a treat? Hi, baby. I brought you some treats. It's all over there. It's behind you, silly. So our garlic scapes are all done. They took 8 hours in our dehydrator, but they are nice and dry. What we're gonna do now is put them into a blender, and we're gonna blend them up until they turn into a powder. Now that they're all inside of our blender, we're just going to blend them up until they turn into a nice powder. So now that we've blended this down into a powder, we can store it in a jar and keep it for cooking. Now if I had a coffee grinder, it probably would be a little bit finer, but I think this is going to be fine for cooking. You can see it's just tiny little pieces mixed with powder. This is how much garlic powder we got out of about 258 scapes. It's not a ton, but for us it'll be enough. When our garlic's ready, we're going to dehydrate some of that and make some garlic powder with the bulbs themselves. If you liked today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to our channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you're notified every time that we post a new video. As always, thanks for watching.